Okay, so welcome everybody to kind of a first different kind of a video, which I hope we'll be doing many different types of, hopefully also in better quality in the future. Wait, actually this is not what I wanted to share with you. Um,
No,
you
I
could
get it.
say something, you read that. Um, there we go. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, the goal is here going to be Mohit basically hardly follows politics but tries to get into it at the moment. Is that a good summary?
Yes, I
And for
do.
anyone in kind of similar situation, recap quickly most of what happened since Trump got elected, um, without giving too much of an opinion or making it clear where we do give an opinion, but still also doing a bit of theoretizing what this kind of means for the future and kind of seeing where we go from there. But first we're going to go through this list and it shouldn't become a epically long video. However, be aware this is not the most well-researched video, or it's not like a completely factual analysis. We're not writing a research paper. We're just kind of going through opinions, giving our opinions on those, looking at what happened, and giving our opinion on that, while trying to stay neutral. We're not saying that, I don't know, we're analyzing policies here or stuff like that, okay? So, one of the first things after the election is that Trump announced that he would go on a thank you tour, which is literally a tour throughout the country where he's holding rallies, I think one per state, although I could be wrong, no, one per state in which he won, exactly. Which is kind of hilarious, like, all the people who voted for him in states which he didn't win, like, don't get a rally. It's kind of funny. But I mean, like, mostly I've actually tried watching some of them. It's a lot of waiting and blah blah. But then it's like an hour of Trump talking, and he's actually been throwing out a lot of information there, like his cabinet picks and stuff, which is kind of weird. Like, instead of a press conference, he'd be like, "Oh, and by the way, people, I decided to put this random dude in charge of that." And we're like applauding because it's a Trump rally. But I don't know. I actually don't have much of an issue with it, to be honest. Like, it's kind of not the most normal thing to do, maybe ish. But then again, I mean, like, he just got elected and he's celebrating. Like, that's kind
I
of tough.
mean, I think that's perfectly fine for any president to, after being elected, to go on a thank you tour.
I find it kind of weird that he's only going to stuff he won because, like, there's still states he didn't win where millions of people voted for him.
Yeah, true.
And I find it kind of, I don't know, like, for example, he's not going to security briefings. We'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, I'm definitely it's a thing amongst others. Um, then one of the things that happened very quickly after the election is that was a carry. So Trump is still president-elect. Obama is still president for I think another 5 weeks now. This video being on the 18th of December, but I could be wrong actually about the exact dates here. But one of the things that he did anyway straight away is he negotiated with Carrier, which was his company threatening to move jobs to Mexico. They do furnaces and air conditioners. Let's actually switch to Chrome. Sorry, it's gonna take a second, everyone, because I basically have to switch at the same time for Mohit and then for stream. But that's gonna be the way it is here. Ta-da, ta-da. Um, so yeah, thank you Tor first. Then he made this carry deal. So it was this deal which basically he gave his company tax breaks, I think 7 million in exchange for keeping jobs in the US and guaranteeing that. And at first, like, he got very good recognition by that for voters, like a lot of thumbs up actually from a lot of people all over the place, really, like from rich or mainstream media, even like the really anti-Trump people like TYT and stuff, and even me, or me rather. I'm not like extra anti-Trump. I'm just anti-Trump, but all that kind of stuff. But then pretty quickly it kind of turned out that Donald Trump overestimated the amount of jobs, overestimated a bit more like overstated. And Trump's carry deal is not really like looking at it for me. It's well for politics. It's not a great thing to do. It's crony capitalism and stuff like that. I really want to talk about it in more detail. But the bottom line kind of is, I think some people appreciated it. Some people are like, this is kind of weird, right? Why are we giving like free money to this company or these people? Um, but I actually feel like the general public opinion is still pretty favorable to do that. Not maybe because the deal is so awesome, but because he kind of like straight away did something is kind of my feeling. While
So,
I would say the kind of more analytical like journalists or those kind of people are saying, or like economists are saying, this really isn't that great.
so for people who don't know what this deal is, can you like summarize it a bit?
Like I said, this company gets 7 million in tax breaks over a couple of years in exchange for not moving jobs over. idea was 1,000 something jobs, but then
So,
it turned out that a bunch of these jobs were not meant to move anyway, and this doesn't count for future jobs, and some of the jobs are going to get replaced by automatization instead. So in general, I don't know. Like I said, giving tax breaks for this is kind of the issue I see, or the main issue. There's many issues with this. Is that now any company can say, yeah, if you don't give me tax breaks, I'm going to move to Mexico or China or whatever. And that's not really how capitalism is meant to work either. So if he wants to change something, you should like change the law in general, but not give like this one company tax break because it's literally this company because Mike Pence, his vice president, is the governor of the state. Where it's really
right.
kind of a mess, and it's not really like I don't know, we're changing the corporate tax rate or we're changing the custom taxes or something like that, which I guess led to this development. So that's why it's getting criticized. Um, so that's kind of that. Get your opinion on it as you kind of want, I would say. We go back to Word. Da 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 da. Where are you? Here we go. Then we've had a lot of talk from both sides, especially from the Democrats, really. Why they actually lost, like a lot of talk. At the very beginning, really, by everyone who didn't vote for Trump, right? Be it Democrats or independents or people who didn't vote, like, oh my God, how did Trump get elected? Was some people really being very unhappy?
Yeah.
And saying stuff like Trump is my president. Although there was, from what I got, very little actual like rioting and stuff like that. Kind of tried to be pushed up, but there wasn't really much of that. From what I get at this point, though, it's mainly like the Hillary Democrats and the Democrats that I'm not much of a fan of. Like the Obama Hillary kind of Democrats,
Yeah.
both in supporters as in the people themselves, have first switched to blaming all kinds of things like people not vote, which are also reasons for a certain degree, but like people not voting and I don't know, right?
But the,
Gerrymandering and I don't know. There was also this talk about election rigging and the recounts happening in 3 states, which also partially got blocked, and definitely stuff to look into. But I think, in my opinion, in the end, what happened is that the Democrats lost because Hillary was just a shitty ass candidate. Um, and actually,
also,
in the end, I don't
yeah,
know. I still think that most people would have maybe like preferred her to Trump, but on top of that, she was kind of
mm,
so confident, and there was kind of like this establishment, anti-establishment altogether.
because she was such a sort of incompetent candidate,
Yeah,
which
like
is
so
fine. Yeah.
incompetent. I mean, like she had she had experience in that sense, but she's so corrupt and also actually
Idiot.
representing similar things as Trump, but without this anti-establishment thingy, right? So like
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
also pro-war and stuff like that, and
And
um,
that's the reason why like voter turnout was so low too.
yeah, that too, and like really focusing on kind of non-issues, and I don't know what I really saw a lot, for example, was a lot of like celebrity endorsement from like big celebrities, okay, like Beyonce and Selena Gomez and stuff like that, right? Where I'm
Mm.
like, if one or two does that like on a concert or does a concert, sure, that's great. But that was kind of like her main appeal at some point, right? When like Beyonce says vote for me, and I'm like, she never mentioned really like, for example, income inequality. Like that's what Bernie is saying all the time now. It's like she never mentioned income equality. She basically said everything is fine, more or less, right?
True.
Um, where I think that in Canada, which have just like Trump said, "Yo, we have some issues in this country. Not America sucks, and we need to make it great again, but we have income inequality issues, and we have Wall Street and banking and then company and military and complex and prison and." I don't even think she would have had to bring up everything, but if she's like, yo, we need to fix our prison system, we need to fix education, and I don't know, we need to fix banks or something, or income inequality, I think she would already have gotten what she kind of needed without being like Bernie Sanders level of a kind of socialist. But a lot of people like voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries, right, against Hillary, and then
That,
got like Hillary won, didn't vote for Hillary in the end, and a lot of people didn't vote. I'm not saying that everyone who would have voted would have been pro-Hillary, definitely not, especially since it was Hillary. That's kind of more of the issue, yeah. That's basically my point. The issue isn't that these people weren't
but
like
then,
pro-Hillary but didn't vote for her, but more like
yeah,
they weren't pro-Trump, but they were like not pro-Hillary either because Hillary really was, yeah,
like there's this big question like if Bernie Sanders was like
the candidate
nominated,
and the
yeah,
exactly very well understood. So that's like a basically big thing going on. But now what people are saying, like Sanders included, yeah, Sanders never went into that talk. Sanders were like,
the-
first question Sanders got asked, I think, after the election was like, "Do you think you would have won if?" And he was like,
yeah,
he got pressed on the issue. So at some point he said, "Look, I don't know what would have happened," but his
Exactly.
main point was like, and he said maybe I would have done some things different and better. But his main point was, can we please move on and make sure Trump doesn't fuck this all up? and like literally what Bernie has been rambling about is like holding Trump accountable for his campaign promises, which is something we'll get to when we get to his cabinet picks. Um, Although you don't want to do that too much either because there was some racist shit in there. Like we maybe don't want that wall. Um, so yeah, but we will see in that sense. But my personal opinion is that the Democrats, like these corporate Democrats, like some people like to call them, me included now, um, don't want to kind of admit that it's their failure of promoting Hillary and of choosing Hillary and of Hillary
Yeah.
and of them in the past too, like maybe Barack not being that great a president or something.
Mhm.
Um, and instead preferring to blame it on people not voting, on independents, on Bernie. Although Bernie supported Hillary, so I don't really know how you can even blame Bernie in the first place, you know?
In support was, I don't think, like, it was sort of forced, I think, but
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, like, Bernie stands for completely different things than Hillary.
exactly.
Him actually supporting her in the first place, like, you can't blame Bernie for it. If the people really preferred Bernie and the
Yeah, he,
Democrats kind of shoved Hillary down their
yeah,
throat, then because you had this entire the Democrat like the it's not like the vote between Hillary and Bernie was the most fair thing ever, and you have these super delegates and all that weird stuff, and I had Hillary getting so much more airtime and so on. But that's like not like trying to make an issue of it. Like I won't hide it. Yeah, I'm a pro. I would have been so happy to see Bernie run, and I would have been
yeah, yeah,
happy amongst these three to see Bernie win, even if I'm not pro Bernie in every point.
yeah.
But it's the way it is. But I definitely think that like staying on the election is a lost cause. Um. So yeah, we had the election rigging and recount talk and blah 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 blah. Then what we had, which was a big part of all of this, was the cabinet picks. So we're gonna go back to Chrome for that real quick. Where are we? Dac. Also with Mohit. There we go. So yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
So this is for now the people that Trump has appointed or well, basically he's appointed all of these. 4 of these do not require Senate confirmation, and these others do. I'm not going to go through all of them, I think, but really he's going to fly over most of them. Um, White House Counsel Donald F. McJahn, I do not actually know.
Yeah.
Do not require. So these 4 people are completely
Yeah.
confirmed. Yeah, they are like
Yeah.
directly under Trump. They're like
Just like, and the
chief of
others are
staff is like
nominated.
his secretary, just like it's his president. So it's not called secretary. National Security Advisor is, I guess, the president's own. Like, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm not American, yeah, on the exact jobs of these people, but not kind of. He's not part of the army and all that business. He's like the president's own security advisor.
Okay.
Then the chief strategist kind of takes care of the press and the communication of the White House. Although the chief strategist and chief of staff, it's kind of they don't really have a fixed job. It kind of depends on how the president and those people define it between themselves. If I'm not completely wrong. So we'll kind
Okay.
of see that. Issue here, okay, Michael Flynn is a general. He's pretty aggressive, not my favorite guy. Probably not the worst guy in this cabinet though. Prince
Okay.
Previous is very is I think RNC. Let's click on it. It works. Um, the chairman
Okay.
of the chairman of the Republican National Committee, which kind of is weird because Trump had all this anti-establishment talk, and although Prince isn't super special in any other way, he is very establishment, being the chairman of the Republican National
Okay.
Committee, which really goes against one of the big campaign promises of Trump. I mean, what were his campaign promises? Jobs, get the economy working, go drain the swamp, go against the establishment, and
Mm-hmm.
then you had the kind of blame it on the Muslims and Mexicans, but that kind of changed over time too, yeah. Um,
Okay.
like the wall talk happened for a couple of months, but wasn't the only thing they ever talked about. Then we have Stephen K. Bannon. Now this guy is really bad. Um, he was like the chief of staff or chief strategist or something of Trump's campaign too,
Yeah.
and he is also the owner and runner of Breitbart News, which is extreme. If you ask me, I can't say it another way. Alt right, which is another way of saying extreme right news site.
Mm.
Um, which has spread like I'm not saying like we're going into fake news here, and fake news is a very difficult topic, and
Okay.
mainstream media isn't that golden here, okay? But but Breitbart News has really like been spreading false information, some complete hoaxes, and some very racist views and things like that. For me, it's definitely going a step too far.
Yeah, according
In
to
that sense.
CNN, I mean, according to CNN, his movement has been one of the major proponents of Trump's border wall proposal.
Exactly. For example, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like those kind of ideas where I'm just sorry, but no, come from him. And in my, he's
Okay, he
really
was also the Donald Trump campaign CEO. Yeah, you like you said. Yeah.
exactly. So that's that guy. Then we have all these other people which require Senate confirmation. From what I get, we can expect like 90% of these to go through,
Mm,
and maybe 10% to get changed, maybe 20% get changed, maybe they all get through in the end. It's kind of complicated,
okay.
and I'm not really into American politics to that point yet. Plus, it's not the point of this video because we're kind of trying to go fast. So let's just go through the funny stuff. Um, let's just go from left to right. Rex Tillerson. State basically means foreign affairs, from what I understand. So,
Yeah.
like, he takes care of of international relations and all that stuff. Rex
Okay.
W. Tillerson is currently CEO of ExxonMobil, which is an American gas, if not the biggest, at least a American gas and oil company.
Pretty big. Pretty
Very,
big.
very big, if not the biggest American one. Um, Having a current CEO run a country's politics, like exterior politics, for me, it just completely blows my mind. For me, it's one of the most crazy things about this. I know that like previously everyone was in bed with the fossil fuel industry and shit too. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of next level. I just don't know what to say there.
And his like
And yes, ties to Russia.
CNN. Yeah, his CNN. The CNN also has quite a good segment on the cabinet. And they say he could be a controversial pick due to concerns about climate change and his ties to Russian
Oh
President
yeah, climate change.
Vladimir
Yeah,
Putin.
he denies.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he's chief of the biggest or one of the biggest. He's CEO of an oil industry. You know, do you think he believes in
Yeah.
climate change? No, he
Big.
doesn't. Of course he doesn't. Costs him money. What? No, he's stupid. Like his ties to Russia for me are like, not the biggest issue. I completely get why people have an issue with that in a way. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, he's kind of meant to represent your country, not Russia. But at that point, that's why I say that's your issue. Global warming is also my issue because it's my planet you're gonna fuck up. So please, why? Then we have Rand Dinka, which I do not much more about. So Interior Secretary apparently is just some ex-SEAL commander, so like some ex-general who supports Trump.
Okay.
The next secretary decided to fit him. So it seems like someone maybe who's just very loyal to Trump and just kind of does whatever he does. But I guess I have no idea. Not gonna go more into that. Rick Perry. This is hilarious. Rick Perry ran for president himself at some point, right?
Okay.
And he was asked which 3 departments he would get rid of, like out of all of these you see, right?
Yeah.
He said, I think agriculture, education, and I think those were. I'm not sure about those two. Yeah, education was one of them. And then he forgot the third one. Okay, the third one.
What?
He forgot the third department he wanted to get rid of in a TV debate, and basically that was the end of his campaign. Okay,
Okay.
you know what the third one was? It was the
Energy.
Department of Energy.
Oh my God.
He wanted to get rid of it and did not remember which one it was, and now he's the chief of that.
Okay. That's very,
It is
very fun.
hilariously sad. I don't even
Very
know what to
fun to
say.
talk about. Not for him. Not fun for him.
I don't know. Like, uh, look it up. Yeah, I don't want to put the video here because copyright and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of sad, hilarious, and definitely I think also goes in anti-global warming and stuff directions, or at least like question marky. So we will see. Labor, also a funny one.
Okay.
Andrew F. puts it like one of the
He,
biggest promises was Trump white workers. So improving the lives of workers and white workers in specific, but workers in general on the
yeah.
low end scale. People used to have manufacturing jobs and all of that. This guy is chief of CKE restaurant, so he's labor secretary. He's meant to represent workers, yeah? Labor secretary, labor, not business, labor. He is against minimum wage. He
Yeah.
is literally the chef of like a fast food chain and some other like that kind of stuff. He's been fighting minimum wage and regulation all his life. What he lives from is abusing workers to make more profit. Let's make him labor secretary. Like it's really one of those. It's if it weren't like that we have someone like Rex Tillerson, in charge of foreign affairs, which is literally going to affect me way more and is way more dangerous internationally. See, I think Labor Andrew F. Putzler is for me one of the most ridiculous choices. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Small business, Linda McMahon. I have no idea. Big donor.
Scott Pruitt.
Seems a bit like maybe crony capital. I don't know, but like I don't know much about her. Not gonna say much. Obviously, I'm negatively loaded against any one of these people, but I don't know enough to say more. Scott Fruit. Oh yeah, then we have EPA. EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency, right? And we have a guy who's close ally of the fuel industry as the chief of this. What happens if I click here? Energy firm with secret deployment with the Attorney General. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Da 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 da. Where
Okay.
basically this guy is fighting as an Attorney General using his powers to support the oil
According
industry and
to
claims
CNN,
against environment.
according to
Whatever.
CNN, Pruitt is a prominent denier of climate science, writing in the National Review in May that the debate is far from settled over whether human activity has contributed to the warming of the Earth.
I mean, like,
You know, he
there's
denies
a lot
climate
going
change.
wrong with climate change, and there's also some like over focus on something, then under focus on others, and like, but like denying human caused climate change is just not a thing.
Climate change agnostic. He doesn't deny it. He just says the debate is far from
Yeah,
settled.
come on, that's denying the fact. No, that's
Yeah,
denying
it is. Yeah.
because the consensus is climate change is real. He's
Yeah.
denying it is. He's saying we're not sure, which is not true. Over 90% of thousands of scientists say it is. Like, oh, sorry. Anyway, I don't know what to say to that kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
good chance with your North Dakota pipe. Oh yeah, then there was that kind of
That'd kill you.
so there was some off topic, yeah, some pipeline building in North Dakota. Just search North Dakota Standing Rock pipeline. You will
Yeah.
find everything you need. But where some oil company is trying to build a pipeline, Native Americans are against it because it's going on their land. They shouldn't be allowed to. This was happening under the Obama administration already, and they finally like the army corps and whatever like gave in. Although Obama was basically on the oil company side in the first place. But now the funny thing is that both Trump and I think some other guy in here are more or less linked directly to this firm. Like they own the firm that they own parts of the firm that owns the firm trying to build this pipeline.
Well,
And then there's another pipeline in South Texas going through also people like taking away their with similar issues. So definitely worth another video. Definitely some great coverage also by other people here like the Young Turks or the Jimmy Dore Show. Look that up. But and maybe for another video. But that's also going on. Then Homeland Security, we have John F. Kelly, who is a retired general.
Yeah.
Son was killed in combat. Yeah, yes. So if Trump builds a wall, this guy builds it. It's the John F. Kelly Trump wall. And yeah, Homeland Security, if I'm not wrong, also has the FBI under it and stuff. So,
Well,
but I mean, like, you can say, yeah, we don't need more general, military. Like, I'm not a fan of this guy particularly, maybe, right? But appointing generals and put that over like Homeland Security and Foreign Affairs, that's something a lot of presidents have been doing. So, Obama included. It's hard to give too much flack here. I still think it's been bad all along, but it's not the same level of worried. But I think we're going to go to a summary afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I'll do my summary after, and then I want you to do yours actually. So then we have Defense Secretary, which basically in the US means Army, and that's stuff like that, like Pentagon kind of ish. Like not direct control of the Army, but I think research and all of that, and planning.
Leads the fight against the Islamic State while overseeing a military that is struggling to put in place. Okay.
Read louder, read louder. If you read, you have to read so that I can understand and the recording can understand.
Okay.
Share it.
The incoming secretary will shape the fight against the Islamic State while overseeing a military that is struggling to put in place two Obama-era initiatives, integrating women into combat roles and allowing transgender people to serve openly.
Oh, come on, that's such bullshit. It's not hard to give a woman a gun and the same training as a guy and send her to war.
Right there on your screen. I'm reading what's on your screen.
Yeah, I know, but like, yeah, sorry. Like, I'm not. New York Times is a decent source of mainstream information. It's fucking. I don't know. Yeah, it's the same as claiming that the US military is suffering from austerity. No, it's fucking not. It's suffering from, like, single projects costing 5 times more than needed while being completely useless, leaving not enough money for way more other things, and a completely bloated bureaucracy. And a lot of stuff like that. Anyway, and a lot of wasted money, simply. And, too many bombs being thrown away. Maybe train some people instead. Anyway, next guy.
Wait. Like I
Yeah.
just apparently he once said it's fun to shoot some people. That
I know.
guy. Yeah.
Oh, a
Well.
lot of these people have said incredible things in that direction. Yeah. I'm not even gonna go like time. We're already at 24 minutes. I want to get this video done with, but yeah. Trevor Stephen Munchkin, um, is a former CEO executive. Not actually former CEO, former Goldman Sachs executive. Sorry. So he used to work pretty high up in Goldman Sachs, which obviously is that huge bank which had a lot
Made
of influence in the U.S. government and is kind of responsible for the 2007 economic crisis. But
made a
who talks about that?
made a lot of money from the 2008 recession.
Yeah, he made a lot of money from like kind of semi-shady or no, definitely shady, semi-illegal foreclosures. Which I think is, but not gonna go into that right now either because I don't know enough. I'm gonna go back to that summary a bit. Um, then we have like some kind of Republican woman, which is not white, so that's really helpful because she's a woman and she's not white at the same time. And when you have mostly white men, you need some diversity, and otherwise she's Republican. Isn't that a good summary?
Yeah,
And oh
okay.
yeah,
Yes.
Trump wants to do a pretty massive infrastructure spending, which is a pretty popular thing to get jobs, and actually is one of those things which can work out if it's well done, which it rarely is, but at least it can work out well. So I'm not going to complain too much. Um. Oh yeah, then the oh yeah, that's also great. The Health and Human Services Secretary is being led by basically a guy who's against Obamacare. Obamacare already being a Republican healthcare, yeah.
What?
Yes, come on, compare Obamacare to anything we have in Europe. Obamacare has introduced he is so proud of his progressive leftist, healthcare system, which is gonna be destroyed in 3 months after being in effect for 2 years, because he implemented way too late, way too badly, and basically is literally 2 times more expensive than the healthcare per person in other countries like Germany or Netherlands, while being far from as effective because all the money goes into private drug companies. But anyway, that's getting even worse. So that's great news. Then commerce. um, at least the businesses are saving some money in the tax cuts since they don't have to pay for Obamacare. Because who cares about sick employees and people dying from cancer and whatever. Um, then we have like this really rich guy. Who is against trade with China, who is the
Yeah.
charge of commerce. That
Well,
sounds kind of bad, but I don't know. Let's see. Education. This is like one of the worst. Also, in my opinion, we have Betsy DeVos, who's literally a woman who's known for giving a lot of money to Trump, her family giving a lot of money to the Republicans over time in general.
public
Being
donor.
against public education. She's education secretary. She's against public education. Okay, she's in favor of privatization and shit, but like it just doesn't work out. Please, please, please. And also, she's like a multi-billionaire. Billionaire. Yeah, of course. Why not?
Hmm.
Like school choice is literally another way of saying school choice means non-public, like funding which goes for public schools going to private schools, which is always, always, always used to favor rich people. Who don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, next. UN. Da, da, da. Oh, okay. So we have a prominent and free critic of Trump as a UN ambassador. Like, granted, UN ambassador basically doesn't do stuff as far as I know. Like, not
Not much.
much. But hey, okay, good going. Then we have Ben Carson.
Uh,
So this guy was one of the few early supporters of Trump. He isn't much of a guy unless he's a great neurosurgeon and he's actually black Republican. So since that's so rare, he's so kind of pushed forwards in the rampart in the Republican side. But okay. Funny thing is that right after, like on the election night or something, he said that he does not feel fit since he has no experience to lead any government office. Fair, you're a neurosurgeon. People were talking namely about him, a secretary for health or something like that because a neurosurgeon. Um, and then like 2 weeks later, he gets appointed as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. This is a neurosurgeon. He earns well on the basis that as a kid, at some point, he lived in public housing, which just made me laugh. I don't know what more to say. I guess there's worse choices, but you could maybe use someone who's kind of qualified. Um, some former army guys, CIA chef. Or the sharp critic of Hillary. Okay, that makes complete sense
okay.
in politics at least. And then Attorney General to finish off. Ba 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 ba. Some strong proponent of strict immigration, reduce spending, and tough on crime. And racially charged comments and actions. his his nomination to a federal judgeship in 1986, 30 years ago, was rejected
Oh
because
my
of
god.
racially charged comments and
And he's
actions.
Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Okay.
Just kill me. Just kill me. Anyway, what do I think is the worst here, right? If someone like Bannon really gets power and really
Hmm.
kind of, I mean, like, the mainstream mess in the US is a mess already, but like really destroys that and just, pushes fake news all over the place, that's gonna be a huge issue. Because it's now gonna have like the presidential authority and power and kind of appeal to people. I think that this guy is a huge issue. Rex Tillerson, like, I don't even know. I really think Betsy DeVos is very bad because I personally think that education is a very, very important thing. I think the environment in the US is effed, honestly, like, unless people wake up to an incredible degree, which I don't see happening. I really think they're gonna have issues, and this is gonna be like literally expensive for them in the long term because of like pollution and water sources contaminated and drought and being but we will see that in the future, and I don't know. I think that's kind of one of the smallest issues. We have a weird mixture of like pro Russia people. We also have a lot of pro war though. Like, I think 4 generals overall, and like some general, fossil fuel industry. What do they like to do? War. Um, I honestly think this is where, like, in my eyes, he really breaks some of the hopes I had, because I was hoping he would be kind of an authoritarian, focused
Mm.
on jobs. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
focused on the people liking him, maybe.
yeah.
Well, it seems that he's more really just either. I'm really so. First of all, okay, that's my opinion. Like, who's the worst? What's your opinion? What's your opinion on this? Do you think this is pretty normal, Mohit, or what do you think of this?
I don't know much about cabinets and how other candidates before this chose theirs, but like this seems very controversial to me,
Yeah.
especially labor. Like you said,
I,
it's
I
stupid.
honestly, I see controversy nearly in every single one.
Yeah.
I think there always has been this issue of online corruption, and it always has been to, like, you have under in every country, yeah, more or less, and definitely more than the people in the US are willing to talk about. We have had issues of corruption and stuff, and in a way, it's actually, there is this argument, like, at least people now are realizing how retarded it is. Like, literally, the CEO of our biggest, or one of our biggest oil companies is deciding our foreign policy. Like, it's one of the most powerful people in government at the moment. We're not talking about, like, background deal corruption or people getting free holidays. Literally. um, but I think it's always been nearly this bad, just without the names being directly sitting there. So that's kind of that. What worries me though, actually more than that, is that how it's breaking with his campaign promises. I'm not surprised to see someone like Stephen Bannon maybe somewhere. I would have hoped it being somewhere more, I don't know, less important. But for example, the minimum wage thing, or um, kind of deregulating everything, which I don't think is what many people had in mind. What they wanted is jobs and stuff like that.
Also, also so many climate change deniers.
Yeah, but I mean that's something I could kind of run on, right? So it's kind of hard to. I still hate, but you know what I mean. It's not the same kind of I find it bad,
No, not really. What?
because he ran in the campaign saying I don't believe in climate change. So while I personally still definitely do, at least you can say it's like on the topics I wanted him to change his mind, he didn't. And on topics I did want him to, he didn't either. He did.
Okay.
I know. So where I did, he didn't, and where I did not want him to change his mind, he did. You know.
Hmm.
For example, not draining the swamp, but putting all these rich people and all this establishment back in there. That's like one of his main promises, which he's not holding.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that many of his policies are going to create jobs. Maybe the infrastructure, but I think he's doing so much more destruction everywhere else that a lot of people are going to be really like seeing their lives worsen instead of increase, sadly. Then it's since we're still doing other stuff than this.
Yeah.
Go back to Word. Okay, rest here. Then so that's his cabinet picks. Trump. So basically, every day in the U.S. there is a security briefing for the president done by, I don't even know, CIA, Army, FBI, Homeland Security, NSA, something like that. Like, I imagine it's like this 5 to 30 minute thing where it's like, there's some not so important stuff like who said this to what and so on, but also, so these are the terrorist threats, and also we have a chance to, every fifth day we got a drone strike here. Do you authorize it? Or actually, probably every 3 times a day for Obama.
Mm.
And maybe we have some protests in our country and that kind of stuff. And Trump has said he doesn't go to them. He doesn't think he needs to because
What?
he's like he literally said, "I am like smart."
Oh my god.
And he goes like once a week or something, and they should, if there is any issue, they can just call him anytime. And funny thing about this is that for example, the 7/11 attacks, they were brought up in security meetings with Bush shortly before, and he went there, he ignored it, and then went golfing on his
Yeah.
ranch or something. Trump
Yeah.
isn't even going, like, not saying, "Oh my God, it's a new president against we're gonna have 7/11," but um, there is a certain point in these security briefings. So that's kind of mainly hilarious to me, to be honest. Then, another thing is that normally as a president, what you do is if you have business ties, right, which is in the first case for a president, because, weird, rich people get up there, um, is that you put your companies in the blind trust, which basically means you trust them to someone who you then don't talk to while you're being a president. And they take all the decisions, and you stay completely away from it for while you're president and even maybe after. And maybe you don't even touch any of the money during that time. The point of it being that you don't take decisions based on your company, and that you can't also, for example, you know you're going to sign this trade deal with whatever country or this whatever deal, and then so you don't use that financially as a president to your own profit, um, over your company, right? Like, makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Well, Trump isn't doing that, and then he talked about putting it in a blind trust with his family, like his daughter or his son. Now I think it's not Ivanka, it's his 2 sons, Donald Trump Jr. and the other one,
Okay.
which is already not a blind trust because it's not meant to be it's your family. You kind of talk to them, right? They're kind of aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Even if it would have just been like Obama's kids who were literally going to school, they still know more than what's going on than you and me do. But additionally, his kids have been seen like are with him in like meetings with industry and foreign ambassadors and foreign presidents, like literally in the room. Like it just doesn't make any sense. It's really, I don't know. It's it's horrible. I mean, like, we complain when, I don't know, in Turkey, right, the third cousin of Erdogan is building roads, or in Russia, this guy who is said to be gone to school with Putin is now actually also quite rich. Like, right, no surprise. But literally, Trump has his kids running his business and sitting in on meetings with him. For example, with the Japanese Prime Minister or the Japanese ambassador, while he is building a hotel in Japan. It's literally incredible. And it's also basically from what's appearing, Melania is going to be pretty excluded. Actually going to stay in New York, definitely during the winter and the school time of her son.
Yeah.
So actually, Ivanka might take up many roles of what the first lady would normally do, both representationally and also kind of taking up some office jobs. With Ivanka's husband, Jared Kushner, I think is his name, also being apparently someone who gained a lot of trust from Donald Trump during the campaign, and is now going to be a very close advisor, and also going to get some kind of a job in the White House. Although it's not sure what role like officially he's going to get, because, well, you're not actually allowed to put like your daughter and like the
Yeah.
husband of your daughter in the government position as a president. Makes certain sense, or at least not directly under you. We've also had some interesting developments in international relations, with, Trump calling some people you normally don't call, such as Taiwan, which completely infuriated the Chinese. And there was this case where apparently the Chinese got some kind of drone out of the water, which belonged to the Americans and international waters close to China, if I got it kind of correct, but please Google the facts exactly. And then Trump was tweet, like, literally, let's go to Trump's Twitter. Or maybe you do that on your side, Mohit. I'm lazy right now. First thing he says is, China steals United. Like, first of all, can we talk about this fact that we're going on Twitter to see the news, because that's where this. Have you
What?
heard of press conferences and
We
communication?
should
You
tell
don't.
China.
The
We
world happenings deserve 10 minutes and
don't.
an option for journalists to ask questions. That's how journalists are meant to control the government, not 140 hash thingy
Character.
tweet character tweet. Anyway, China steals United
We
States
should.
Navy research drone in international waters, rips it out of water, and takes it to China in unprecedented act. Also, that was written unprecedented act for a while instead of unprecedented. If I can believe Google, maybe that was a fake screenshot. Don't take me, but I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Anyway, now basically from what I understood, this was a drone which measures water saltiness and temperature, which matters for submarines or something. You do have to definitely be aware there is a lot of military tension going on in like the Chinese Sea over there between. You have like kind of China on one side, and then you have Japan, South Korea, backed by the US, and like some other islands on the other side. Because these islands, obviously, depending on who, there's a bunch of islands in that sea. There's a lot of transport there. Some of them have resources, and also you have to understand that international waters are, I don't know, I think 11 miles or kilometers away from an island or from a country. So if you start getting the island, you own the water around it too, which has navy implications and resource implications for the oil and stuff like that, and the trade routes. So it's kind of odd about that. There's a bunch of tension. There's actually way more probably American ships than we're all aware, as well as troops, as well as from other countries, and that's kind of how that the general big picture brought to you in like 30 seconds, because it's way more complicated than this. Ask anybody. Hopefully we can talk about that in another video. But then later on, he says we should tell, after the Chinese apparently agreed over back channels to return the drone on, kind of
Yeah.
even basis. I mean, obviously they probably still looked at it, but from what I understand, that would mean they don't destroy it and shit like that, and they don't, completely take it apart.
Yes.
He tweets, we should tell China that we don't want the drone they stole back, let them keep it. And like, you're the president, you don't say, hey, how about we say this, You talk to your foreign secretary. Like, okay, no, you're not president, you're president-elect. So actually he's got a point, because actually he doesn't have anything to say. Yeah, it's Obama's decision. But it's still so weird. Oh my god, I don't know what to say to this. I guess considering he's not president, that's worse. But
Yeah,
still.
I hope he does like actual press conferences when he's president.
He already
Not
said
just
that he's
his,
going to be picking his journalists and stuff, which is
his
like,
end of the year tweet instead of his end of the
yeah.
year.
And then very recently we've had these Russia allegations. So in line of all those Democrats not, kind of accepting the loss, we have had unconfirmed sources from the CIA, unconfirmed anonymous sources from the CIA, claiming towards the press that Russia hacked the election in favor of Trump. And while there has been some consensus on this in some form, it's been consensus from anonymous sources within US government agencies, which, sorry, is literally not information. And the way that Obama and other mainstream media have jumped on it, in my eyes, is completely disgusting and revolting. Yes, it's worth like talking about real quick. There are these claims, but for example, a ex-ambassador of the UK has claimed that he himself got the documents from the US from a disgruntled insider of Hillary's campaign, and then flew back with them from the US to the UK, or to wherever WikiLeaks is, and gave it to Assange and uploaded it to WikiLeaks, basically. He claimed that, like, and a guy with his name, not anonymous sources within the CIA. And we don't hear, like, so we have this guy claiming, yo, it's bullshit, and then you have anonymous sources. I don't even know. And if you're surprised, like, because there's different things to kind of take apart. Does Russia do stuff in the American election? Of course they do, right? What is Russia today? But like, what does the US do? Just look at Hillary. Hillary said, what did she even say? We shouldn't have let an election somewhere happen because we didn't make sure of who would win first. Come on, Hillary, yeah. You're a Democrat. So these hacking allegations are completely, and Obama, like, if there's evidence, if the CIA releases evidence, I'm the first one. I want to look at it and I want to be like, oh Putin bad, yeah, Putin bad guy. I'm not a big fan of Putin, I'm really not. But like, if there's evidence, release that evidence, or at least give us, say what the evidence is. So if you release it in a year, we can kind of like look at it, you know what I mean, and say, oh, it's actually what they claimed it to be. So, for example, say we have records of a phone call or something, and then that way, if in 1 year they have an email they release, I can be like, it doesn't make sense. You said you have a phone call. Did you not manage to fake that and fake an email instead? Right? I don't like, really, for me it's such a bullshit. So that's kind of that. And then we also had something, Trump's Twitter. If we go back there,
Yeah.
bashing Vanity Fair because they made a bad article about one of his restaurants or something. And everyone like, what? Like conflict of interest, right?
Oh god.
Also,
Has anyone looked at the really poor numbers of at Vanity Fair magazine? Way down, Big Trouble Dead.
yeah.
Graydon Carter, No Town will be out.
I can't find it right now.
Oh my god. Graydon Carter, I believe, is the guy who wrote the Vanity Fair. Oh, he's the Vanity Fair editor.
Anyway, so sorry if I can't find that tweet right now. I seem to be blind, although I think I scrolled past it. But yeah, it's just kind of hilarious. I think we stopped this video there. It's been going on for
Yes.
45 minutes now.
Oh
Actually,
my god.
no, actually, no. Before we do that, the last point of this video, namely kind of my opinion and then Mohit's opinion on
Yep.
all of this. I think it really looks bad. I think it looks bad and good. It looks good in the way that at least I'm pretty confident actually that in 4 years we will get rid of Trump as long as there is a election. Um,
As long as there's an election.
the issue is no, I do actually believe there will be an election, or I do maybe whatever.
Yeah.
But mainly I do believe so. However, I think that the next 4 years are going to be harsh. Actually, mainly not only on the US, also on the rest of the world because of it. What exactly and to what extent we will see though, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I think capitalism is really gonna get a turn for the better word, like for the bad kind of capitalism, which as I think been creating a lot of issues, is not gonna get any better.
Yeah.
At least it's a huge experiment. I don't know. One of the good things is that Trump might turn it into like an anti-globalization experiment, but we kind of know how that works. Isolation hasn't worked out for China in the past, hasn't worked out for US in the past, hasn't really worked out for anybody in the past. So I don't really think isolation is the issue. Is fighting cheap jobs in other countries a solution issue? Maybe, but not in that straightforward way.
Yeah.
And I think that's really not something I can fit into this video. And I'm definitely scared about like the right wing aspect, and I was more hopefully he would maybe drop that in favor of So for example, what Trump could have done is like, hey, I'll drop the racist stuff, so that all you liberals like me. I'll do some identity politics and say we actually need more women and women in high position jobs, and I support transgenders and gays and I don't know what, right?
Yeah.
Not trying to diss any of that. That is important, but he could have anyway. He didn't do that. He could have done that. He would have probably gotten a lot of support, and then kind of use that support to continue the economic worsening. At least now he's gonna drive everything to hell, so there shouldn't be too many people left to like him. That's literally kind of how I see it. Except all of the big money. Like he literally decided for big money. Everywhere where it was big money against big money or friends.
Yeah, I guess.
And that kind of scares me. What's your opinion,
Well,
Wade?
I feel pretty much the same. So like, I wasn't convinced before this, but like after seeing the cabinet and every one of the nominees,
Believe me, if you do
it's
some digging, it gets so much
yeah,
worse.
it's really bad, I think. But yeah, like you said, now that he's gonna drive everyone away, hopefully next election we'll get a better president.
The thing is that yeah, he's got so much power in his hands between Congress, Senate, himself. Since he's getting the Republicans on his side and he's not really fighting them, right? Because he's agreeing to do a lot of Republican things in the end. Yeah, they're gonna support him. Oh, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video, and sorry for all the politics. Please, if you disagree, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
This video is meant to be a short, semi-accurate idea summary of what happened since the election. It is way too short to cover any of the topics in any depth and does not claim to. But still, feel free to comment, and I will try to argue my points or give facts or for search sources, and also check the description in case I change anything or want to add any comments later on. Before you complain 10 times about the same thing. See you next time. Mohit.
Okay. Yeah. See you.
Bye bye.